Hey everyone, I'm going to try this one more time, hopefully with no problems. Um, but I wanted to kind of talk about the whole situation with the reaction of Rob Van Dam going back to WWE, and the title on the on and basically the name of the title says it all of the question of the title says it all. It's basically, you know, is is the YWC and IWC. Basically, it's going to say is some of the YWC/IWC a bunch of hypocrites? Because I was, I'm part of several wrestling groups on Facebook, and primarily, primarily, um, primarily there was this one little meme comic, if you will, that kind of, in my opinion, I got a chuckle out of because it kind of represented, I guess, has some view, the IWC and YWC as being, a bunch of hypocrites. And basically what it was is that, and basically what it showed was a fan being disappointed in 2010 that RVD went to TNA, and yet on the bottom it showed that same fan being happy that he was back that it was announced at Payback that he was going back to WWE. And here's why, that is. Here's why that is, ladies and gentlemen. It's primarily due to the fact that for the 6 to 7 years RVD was in WWE and everything that he accomplished, basically some of the IWC and YWC viewed RVD as a WWE guy that should only stay in WWE. And, he's not the first one either. There's people like Christian, Hogan, Mickey James, Tara, Gail Kim, Team 3D. The list could go on. Mr. Anderson, believe it or not. Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy. All these people, all these superstars and divas, all these men and women, if you will, that have gone to TNA and elsewhere, that's basically some of the YWC and IWC view as being people that are primarily WWE superstars and divas and should only be in WWE. And it's the same with TNA. When a TNA person goes to WWE, the fans are disappointed. They're like, because they only view that person as being a TNA superstar or knockout. So, they kind of act. So the reaction is basically of disappointment. But when that individual down the line, maybe a few years, a year later, maybe a few months later at the shortest, if that individual when it announced that individual is going back to the company where they primarily, some fans associate them with, those very same fans, according to this comic, will be praising the fact that they're going back. They'll be praising that company at the fact that they got this individual to come back home, if you will, back to where they feel they belong. And, that's primarily the situation with Rob Van Dam. When he went to TNA, I guess according to his comic, some fans were not happy because they're like, TNA's signing this guy that's in his 40s, or he's basically at that time his last year, basically his very late 30s, basically being in his last year of his 30s before he entered his 40s. They look at him and being like, oh, this guy's just, this guy shouldn't be here, kind of deal. And yet when he goes back to WWE, they're all happy about it. And again, it's all about the fact that even if it showcases some of them being some of the IWC and YWC being a bunch of hypocrites, it basically shows that they primarily view someone like Van Dam as a WWE guy and nothing else. Same with Mickie James and Gail Kim and Tara. Even though they found success in TNA and have helped that Knockouts division and put it on the map, basically they view those three still as WWE divas. You know, when they see someone like Hulk Hogan, being in another company like TNA, they know he's there to try to help the product out, if you will, but they primarily look at him as a WWE guy. Same with Christian when he was there. Same with Team 3D while they're there. Same with Rhino, and Matt and Jeff. They view them as WWE superstars and nothing else. That's why they kind of show, in my opinion, disappointment and criticize them going and being signed by this company. It's kind of like when Taz himself went to WWE from ECW. People, I can guarantee, were happy he went. I can guarantee were also disappointed that he went. But when he came back and got the belt and won the championship away from Mike Awesome, there were some fans that were happy about it. They were like, yes, Taz is back in ECW. He's going to leave WWE or whatever. Things like that. The point is, hypocrites or not, they primarily look at certain superstars and divas as basically being part of one company, and that's it. Being part of and representing one company, and that's it. That is why when you take a look at people's reactions to RVD going back to WWE, and it's a positive reaction of, yes, he's back. It's basically because they primarily look at him as a WWE guy. They don't look at him as being nothing more than that. And, that's about it. It's kind of like with Brock Lesnar. When he went to the UFC, yeah, a lot of people were happy he was in the UFC and he found success, but they looked at him as a WWE guy trying to make a name for himself in the UFC. And he did, but when he came back, they were happy. Get my point? It's kind of like with the Ring of Honor fans. They look at CM Punk and the success he's having in WWE, right? But I guarantee you, when he went to WWE, you could have had the similar comic saying, WWE took CM Punk, they're going to devalue him, they're going to do this to him, blah, blah. But I also guarantee you that if, let's say, CM Punk was to do something like similar to Taz, to what he did, and come back under WWE contract and win the Ring of Honor championship from somebody outside of Ring of Honor that's going someplace else, then I guarantee you fans would have been happy about, oh, CM Punk won the title, he's back in Ring of Honor. Heck, when his whole contract situation was up in the air in 2011, a lot of Ring of Honor fans were hoping he would go back, and he almost did. The point is, and I'm trying to say this as quickly as I can because I don't know when my mom and my nephew are going to come back out. But basically, the reason some fans of the IWC and YWC are viewed as hypocrites, again, is because they primarily view a wrestler or a diva as being a part of a certain company, and that's it. And that's why that's why this little comic kind of represented them in this manner, and I got a chuckle out of, because they look at someone like RVD in the 6 to 7 years he was with WWE as primarily being a WWE guy and nothing else. Yes, he won the TNA World title. Yes, he won the X Division title. But as great as that was, they never viewed him as anything else as just a WWE guy that was temporarily being part of another company to kind of get a break and explore other opportunities. And that's primarily what it was. They always viewed him as the WWE guy that they would hope would go back to WWE, and he has. The same with Mick Foley when he did his jump to TNA. So, no matter what you say, no, well, not no matter what you say, but no matter how you view it or how you look at it, this is why, in my opinion, my honest opinion, why some of the IWC and YWC fans reacted the way they did to RVD returning. It's because of the fact that they primarily look at him like they look at a lot of other wrestlers and men and women that have made a name for themselves mostly in WWE and have gone elsewhere as primarily being WWE. As primarily being a WWE superstar or diva. So, that's all I'm going to say on it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree or not with what I said? And tell me if you've seen the comic I'm describing on Facebook. And that's all I'm going to say, and talk to y'all.